Hi, and welcome to Comedy Recap. Today we'll talk about the 1986 movie Private Resort, starring Johnny Depp and Rob Morrow. This film follows two boys at a swanky hotel in Miami as they do everything they can to land themselves some women. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy. We're introduced to the outgoing duo, Ben and Jack, hanging out at a posh Miami resort, hoping to snag one of the beautiful and wealthy women staying there. The head of security has his hands full, just trying to keep his resort up to standard. At first, he does not seem to believe the boys are staying at the hotel, only reluctantly backing off when they show off their key. We're then introduced to a jewel thief called the Maestro and his mistress. He's a suave con artist wanting to steal a valuable diamond necklace from one of the resort patrons. He needs to stay covert and coax the diamond necklace away from its owner, or else face consequences from the big boss. Ben meets an attractive waitress who he quite literally runs into. She's reprimanded by her superior, who seems to have ulterior motives as he pulls her aside. Meanwhile, Jack meets an attractive blonde at the pool but gets distracted midway through, an act that sends the head of security diving headfirst into the pool. Things are going according to plan, with both boys enjoying the resort and the sights until they meet Bobby Sue, the Maestro's mistress. They flirt with her briefly before she forgets her key on the ground, something that the two boys take as an invitation to go to her room. Unfortunately, that's not the case and she wants them to leave immediately, but her husband enters the room before they can escape. A naked Jack hides with Bobby. Meanwhile, Ben is roped into pretending to be the Maestro's barber. The Maestro falls asleep midway through the cut, which has been botched terribly as Ben doesn't know what he's doing, and the real barber shows up. At the same time, the Maestro goes into the other room to find a tip for his barber. Jack hides under the blankets with Bobby Sue in the other room, trying not to be caught and somehow managing to escape before he's seen. Ben tries to expertly shoo him away, but the man is aggressive and seems to not want to take no for an answer. Finally locking him away, the Maestro still hasn't removed the towel from his head and sees the two boys, Jack making up a story on the spot. Just as they're being sent away, the Maestro makes the mistake of looking at his botched haircut, infuriating him. He runs into the head of security while running after them. Jack and Ben only get away because they hide in the crowd at a women's aerobics class. The Maestro joins but gets kicked out when he upsets the instructor. Meanwhile, Jack is reunited with the attractive woman from the pool in the back of the room. Back at the pool, Ben meets up with the waitress again and promises to help her get home. She's reprimanded by her aggressively flirty boss once again, but manages to get away. On the other hand, Jack chats up an attractive older woman and is reintroduced to Dana, the woman from the pool and aerobics class. The woman sets the two of them up on a date as long as she brings her cousin, Shirley. Jack hatches a plan to bring Ben along so that he can have some time alone with Dana. He also hands Ben some Quaaludes to help loosen things up. When they get to the room, Shirley comes off the couch and it's clear she's a little off. Ben tries to escape when she says she doesn't want to go out, but Jack traps him in the room with her for his own time alone with Dana. The two of them share an intimate time at the pool. Meanwhile, Ben is left with Shirley, who seems to be in some metaphysical cult. Nonetheless, the two seem to be getting along pretty well. Until, that is, they both disrobe, and she freaks out that he's touching her. She disappears into the other room and leaves Ben with his eyes closed, chanting, and naked. The grandmother, however, is being wooed by the Maestro, or attempting to be. The Maestro nearly has the necklace, until such point she removes his cowboy hat and, in shock, simply slips away from the party. She returns back to her suite only to be greeted by a very naked Ben, swatting him out of the room. Noticeably frazzled, she lays down on the couch and takes a few of what she assumes are aspirin, but in fact are the Quaaludes from before. While running out of the room, Ben runs into the head of security who chases him, only to end up under the food service cart which enters the Maestro's room. In trying to escape, he ends up in the bath with the Maestro, causing yet another scuffle and chase with the two. A sudsy Maestro ends up running into the head of security instead of allowing Ben to get away. All this causes Ben to miss his chance to take the waitress home, and she goes with her creepy boss instead. The next day, Ben meets up with the waitress, who's understandably upset for being abandoned the day before. He apologizes and the two make up, only for her to be yanked away by her creepy boss just moments later. Ben fights him off, which earns him a day of gallivanting with the pretty waitress, who ends up quitting her terrible job to have a fun time. Finally, the maestro makes it back to the wealthy woman's room and tries again to get his hands on her diamond. At first it doesn't work, but he threatens her with a gun. Successful in his attempt, he escapes with the diamond. He runs, once again, into Ben and runs after him into the women's dressing room for the fashion show. Ben has disguised himself as a woman with his face covered, and the maestro is swept up and falls in love almost immediately. He chases Ben into the elevator, revealing his identity only after the maestro drops the diamond into his blouse. Now both the head of security and the maestro is chasing him, first through a women's locker room, which earns the head of security the ire of the women's instructor. In the dining hall, the confrontation comes to a head, as the maestro takes out a gun and everyone scatters. The police have been called about the stolen diamond and quickly apprehend the man once they pinpoint him as the diamond thief. With everything neatly tied up, the diamond back in its owner's hands, the boys check out with women in tow. And that's going to wrap things up for today. Hopefully, you enjoyed this recap as much as we did. Let us know down below what you thought of this film. And if you like this recap and want to look into other movies with us, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on.